game for the Lake Hylia division, and our runners are off.
Yeah, starting off, both runners going to go to Link's house, open up, get the single arrow, and there's our first map check. Very quick. I saw there was a... Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say I saw a red crystal. Oh, 3 crystals, actually. There we go.
Yep.
Daaanty with a slightly longer pause. Okay. But yeah, 5, 6 crystals at Eastern Palace, and the other 2 are just regular crystals. The 4 and 7 ones, to be specific.
But yeah, so just to take a step back for how we got here, Phendrana Drifters and 4K 4th and 4 Head finished the regular season tied for first place, so they had a 1-game playoff to determine who would get the bye. It was a super close playoff. If you haven't watched it yet, definitely go seek out that VOD. So nothing in the Uncle chest.
Yeah,
but Uncle himself had the sword, so that's something.
Yeah, I was going to say vanilla sword from Uncle. Showing up nice. Megawott going to check the library while Daaanty goes in and checks the... Oh, didn't even get to see what it was, but...
Oh, in the library, that was a full heart.
Ah, full heart, okay. Really quick on the draw there. But Daaanty going to go back and do the rescue here, as Megawatt opening up the tavern to get a big 20.
Yeah, doing Kakariko from the bottom up, which you occasionally see in open mode. Ooh, Moon Pearl there and escape.
And a heart there, full heart for Megawatt. So Daaanty finding some good utility items here to start with, Moon Pearl and the sword. You would presume that Megawatt will check this shortly thereafter, and Daaanty will probably go do Kakariko, so we'll likely see these 2 flip-flop here. That's fairly common in a lot of races. You usually see these early locations, one person will check one thing, one person checks the other, without knowing that, and they'll kind of flip-flop shortly thereafter and check the other.
At least we hope they flip-flop, because occasionally you'll see runners' last location escape in open mode, and if Megawatt does that, he's in trouble, so we will hope they switch locations.
Yeah, it would be a really rough time without having that sword and that Moon Pearl for quite a while. But we'll see. Meanwhile, there's the lantern, the lamp, showing up as the bottle vendor item. Very handy.
Ooh, and Master Sword in Zelda's cell, wow.
Master Sword and Moon Pearl. Very interesting. And the boots showing up in Blind's hut. So that's going to be nice for Megawatt. He's going to have a little quicker check here because he'll be able to dash around for some of these overworld checks before Daaanty will.
This is a stacked early seed.
It is, but Daaanty may be heading over to Kakariko now, so the advantage may be somewhat limited.
We'll probably go via the Lost Woods here. Now, since Megawatt has the boots, as he goes up into the Lost Woods, he'll probably also check Lumberjack.
Yeah, not a bad idea. Let's see what's here. Just the Bloomerang on the mushroom. So both runners now hanging out in Lost Woods here are going to do the drop into the Thieves' Hideout. It's just 10 arrows, and now we'll see them probably flip-flop where they were at. So Megawatt will likely go back. I wouldn't be surprised after, like you said, drops a Lumberjack Ledge. Oh, actually going to save and quit before that, so probably just going to go do Castle now. And then Daanty's going to go do Kakariko. So, actually no, Megawatt's going to go do South Hyrule checks.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't check Lumberjack while he was up there, because early boots sometimes means you have to worry about what's on Lumberjack.
Yeah, and one thing we have Moon Pearl and we have Master Sword, so I think who was it in chat? Yeah, a couple people in chat have pointed out something that I was thinking too, which is that Aga's now potentially in play. Lamp,
Right, and early lamp, right, as
yeah.
it is.
So lamp, boots. We don't really need boots; they're helpful. But lamp, pearl, master sword. I don't know. Could be a lumberjack check.
I mean, maybe Ag is just our Dark World access, but
That too. That could also be the case.
there's still so many unchecked locations where we could get a hammer and a glove or 2 gloves.
Oh, absolutely. So definitely not confirmed to be Aga yet, but could certainly be the case depending on what we find in the rest of the overworld here.
We are also
Megawatt.
having a... Oh, just go ahead.
I was gonna say Megawott having used the bombs there in the mini Moldorm cave. So far, not really finding anything. Getting a refill on his bombs, a couple pieces of heart, and some rupees. So, not a great check so far, unfortunately. But go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that we are having a very rich opening, while Zora, to be in logic, requires either the Power Glove or the Flippers. We have Zora money on Megawatt's side, and Daaanty will have Zora money pretty soon, I think.
That's true.
So Daaanty will probably grab the full heart here. No. Okay, likes to live dangerously. Oh yeah, and there was a bow and ice cave for those of you who missed it and missed what chat was saying. So
Yes.
that now makes Eastern Palace full clearable, and that's a 5/6 crystal.
Absolutely. That's a good point here. Now, Daaanty. Where's Daaanty going? Oh, we're gonna check Bonk Rocks. So, first time checking that while Megawatt is dashing across the water. And it's the red meringue, so we know where both boomerangs are now.
And he is going to show us Lumberjack. Whoa, that's pretty nice for the crab, tossing out full magic refills.
Lumberjack Ledge is just gonna be bombs, so it's not item required to go do Aga. Maybe Dark World access required, depending upon what our items are.
Yeah, I mean, you have to wonder with Lamp and Master Sword and Moon Pearl all showing up that early.
You would think that, but
Oh, right, and Megawatt doesn't have the Moon Pearl yet, so he couldn't do Waterfall Cave.
right, that's where we're not doing that. That early escape is gonna hurt a little bit. I'll have to come back and do that later. But it may actually also be a benefit if there's nothing in there, and Megawatt just completely skips that, because if there's nothing in there and gets to go mode before having checked that, there's the cape. That's kind of another possible hint that maybe there could be something that needs Aga access.
Well, since Megawatt did swim in there and then remembered that he didn't have the Moon Pearl, it only saves 5 to 10 seconds versus actually going back in a second time and opening the chests.
Yeah, that's a good point, yeah.
Daaanty having a much easier time with Mini Moldorm Cave with the Master Sword. And Daaanty on the way to finding his bow.
So I'm going to see Megawott go ahead and dip into Eastern Palace here swordless, but with the bow, so it's completable.
As long as he doesn't run out of.
Yeah, just to be careful on those arrows, but I think probably will be quite observant in their use for the immediate future here.
Now, Daaanty will show us Waterfall Cave as soon as he checks Lake Hylia Island. Oh, he's not even gonna bother with Hobo. Well, just the full heart he didn't get at Hobo. Hey, is that a unique item there on Zoral Edge?
I missed it again. What was it?
Looked like the single arrow.
Yeah, I think we found a single arrow. Didn't we find that right at the start?
In Link's house, I don't remember what was in Link's
I
house.
think it was the single arrow in Link's house, if I remember right.
Oh. So what was that on Zoral Edge? Did I just not see the 10 next to the arrow?
Yeah, possibly. It can be hard to see because sometimes it'll hang out off the just the edge there. So I think it's probably just an arrow pack then.
Okay, Daaanty about to find out that Sahasrara has garbage in his closet today. Pendant Thieves Town. Which means there's probably something useful in there. Now there's the glove, which puts the beginning of Death Mountain in logic. Just the Old Man in Spectacle Rock Cave, but still.
Which that could be another breadcrumb leading to, you know, more items.
Megawott well on his way to Armos Knights now. We don't too often see the runners having to employ bow strats the whole way through Eastern.
No, not normally. Ooh! Okay, well, maybe I'm not really required so much now.
Yeah, depends on hammer location, but we have Western Dark World access.
So we can at least get into the Dark World. Maybe not quite everywhere yet, but...
Hammer could be in Pyramid.
That's a possibility.
If Hammer's on East Side Dark World, then the runners would need to use the Kern glitch. Nothing really in the back of Escape. But with the key Megawatt, we'll check out the crossroom chest. That's impressive, though. Both glove upgrades in Eastern. You don't see that too often.
No, not normally. You don't usually see them both in one dungeon, especially not Eastern a whole lot.
If they're going to be in one dungeon, it's usually Pod.
Yeah, or something larger like that.
Oh yeah, thanks, chat. Just to elaborate, normally to get to Eastside Dark World, you either need to beat Aga or have the hammer or the flippers. If you've done none of the above, there's a glitch where you can use a bomb to get fake flippers because you can't drop into the river one of the ways that would normally allow you to fake flipper. Or water walk. Oh, and it looks like Megawatt's heading for Death Mountain, unfortunately. I mean, hey, he only had... Oh, he's doing Bonk Rocks. But he only has 2 checks on Death Mountain. Where was the Fire Rod? I missed that.
Apparently I did too, because...
Oh, it was in Dark Cross.
Oh, okay, so that makes sense. Because I did see Megawatt go into the back half there.
So Daaanty's presumably going to go right to the back of Escape and do Dark Cross as well. What does the old man have today?
Just a big 20.
Probably his retirement money. I mean, it's like he liquidated his 401k for Link.
He's kind of a jerk like that. He's like, yeah, I'll take it. Don't worry too much. Your money's good with me, sir.
Is Death Mountain going to have anything, or is it a waste? Just a full heart, but we'll see if the hint's useful. Nope. So other than having the save point set up, that didn't really do much for us. So, on the one hand, Megawatt did last location the front of Escape. On the other hand, he's a bit limited, so it didn't take him too long. And we get the Dark World map. There is our other 5-6 crystal in Skull Woods, and our other 2 pendants in Mire and Ice. And I guess Skull Woods is full clearable, which means the pyramid would be in logic, but would require defeating Aga. So it might be one of those special seeds where we have to defeat Aga to get the hammer out of pyramid.
Yeah, it's there's only 2 item spots up there for that to be possible, but you never know if these kind of seeds, just the way the logic works, it may place that in there as a kind of a fun adventure for our runners to go on. I'm sure I'll be very happy if that's the case. Everybody loves that, right?
Yeah. And the pyramid could also have something leading to the hammer, too. Like, for instance, it could have the hook shot, which then opens up Eastside Death Mountain. Megawatt picking up his Moon Pearl.
Right, and that could have the hammer in it if it's not otherwise accessible. Meanwhile, Daaanty taking a nice little teleport back there to the start via Wallmaster.
And an intentional death to refill his hearts, too.
And Megawatt's going to pick up that second sword, of course. Just a moment here. Daaanty going to the back to presumably take care of Mothula.
Well, and we saw one item in the vanilla big key chest, so if Mothula happens to have the second, you don't need to touch the rest of the dungeon.
Absolutely. It's a valid point. And, I mean, item-wise, we're kind of looking at it being fairly even right now. Both runners had the exact same items in their inventory. Exact same dungeons completed so far. That may change in just a moment here as Daaanty will very quickly be finishing up Skull Woods. Just waiting for that Wallmaster.
You're waiting, yeah.
I can't say I blame him.
Yeah, version 1 has a glitch where if you drop into the hole and the Wallmaster drops at the same time, it can actually grab you from the hole.
Right. The reason for that is because everything in this game operates on layers, and you haven't dropped between the layers to trigger the sprite being moved, so it just kind of... it's just a map, but he's going to get the other red crystal. But yeah, just because the sprite hasn't officially transitioned over into its new location for the Mothula fight, it's like, oh, you're still there. I can grab you.
Megawatt, meanwhile, has opened Pendant Thieves. We'll see how much exploration he does there.
So yeah, the difference right now between the two, besides the Bloomerang in Megawatt's inventory and Daaanty having done all of this, is that we've seen Megawatt check a few locations that Daaanty hasn't checked yet. So, and of course, Thieves Town may in fact be one of them. That we find something interesting here. There's a first item showing up. It's the big 20.
Well, there's always the question in Pendant Thieves Town, do you just check the front four or do you go further in?
I think at this point it's probably just a front four check, I would assume. Knowing that there's one more item here, that's the last one. If you open this up and it's not the big key, the last one is the big key. In fact, it is the big key, so we're going to get one more check.
And Daaanty, meanwhile, trying to find that second Skull Woods item.
And yeah, Megawatt going to go ahead and take a death warp back to the start here.
So how many items was that? 2 that we saw there? So there are 2 in the back?
I think we saw... Well, I think we saw 2, and we didn't see what was in the last chest, though, unfortunately. Megawatt's screen froze just as he was going to get that, and the Bombos in C-shaped house.
Not that we... Well, we might need Bombos for Turtle Rock, I was going to say. Not that we necessarily need it for anything, but... 1 in 3 chance we need it for T-Rock.
It's that favorite digging time, though. The favorite game time. Favorite time, though. I was trying to say digging game. But apparently I just have favorite digging time, so I am very good with words. I am the
Only
best.
7 digs today.
So not a lot of digs, and it wasn't really a prize that was worth going to do the dig game for, besides it being just a check. Megawott gonna go ahead, I think, yeah, grab the Smith and take him on a world tour here.
Yeah, presumably check Stumpy and Hype Cave.
Meanwhile, Daaanty also now doing the forward chest check here, so we'll probably get another chance to see what was in that fourth one. Yeah, looks like Megawatt's gonna go to Hype Cave here. Probably do that. Maybe save and quit back to Light World.
Yeah, there's nothing else in this direction without the hammer or the mirror.
Okay, it was just a key.
Now, he is not doing a Death War person.
Ooh. Sorry to interrupt there, Drosy, but we did find the hammer.
Oh,
It's in Hype Cave.
okay, Rip Aga. Which also makes Pyramid much more accessible, so it'll be interesting to see if either of the runners do that early.
It also means we are, yeah, absolutely not going to Aga today. Maybe we'll see one of them kill Aga just later for fun after a win or something like that. But yeah, don't have to do it to complete the seed. It does mean the back half of Thieves Town's open though. It's a green pendant Thieves Town. So this will be kind of unfortunate for Daaanty that the hammer is in Hype Cave and was accessible before going into Thieves Town. Because this means if it turns out that there's an item in that big chest, that it's going to have to be a double dip to come back and get it.
Well, there was our third item. So, 2 in 3 chance that the big chest is just a dungeon item. And we're going to see hammer pegs and probably purple chest on Megawatt's side. Did you see what was in Blind's chest? I was looking at the hammer peg side.
Well, that's an ominous hint as well there from Blind for Daaanty. I'd peg you as a fan of the hammer. Yeah, I did not see anything. I think it was just the compass. Yep, Chad is confirming that indeed it was the compass.
And that's the map, so big chest has an item.
Really good blind fight from Daaanty though, and getting that green pendant. So that's an additional item check to turn in. Get to see, maybe that could lead to something.
And I wonder if after Skullwoods, Megawatt will clear the back of Thieves now that he has the hammer.
He might. I mean, that green pendant is kind of tempting as an item, and thinking about it, you really don't have. Let's see what we can kind of game out here. Really can't get into Desert Palace. Can't get into Tower of Hera. We can do pod now, I think, because we have access to that right side. We have the hammer and the bow, so that's pretty much all we need for that. Skullwoods, obviously, we're seeing both runners complete that now. Thieves' Town is completable. Ice Palace needs the flippers. Misery Mire, we would probably need a little bit more for that. And Thieves' Town, not Thieves' Town, but Turtle Rock, we definitely need some more items for that. So, yeah, pod and I think Pendant Thieves' Town being the only real dungeon options right now.
Yeah, so it's surprisingly linear.
Which in the case of Daaanty is literally going to be pod, and that's it. That's all he's going to have as far as dungeons. But he's about to pick up the hammer here just in a moment. What's Megawott doing here? Trying to get to the back.
Well, I'm sure Daaanty will be relieved to see that hammer, other than a bit frustrated because of the Thieves' Town big chest.
Oh, Megawatt, I think was trying to go for the refill there, the magic refill. I was wondering about that. Wanted the magic refill. And unfortunately took a bomb to the face right as he was setting it up.
And it looks like he wants to go for it again.
Yeah, because there's a full magic refill there, so that's always a nice thing to grab. So I think probably setting up for a, I would assume, go ahead and bomb the wall open, and then probably wall master your way back to the, and maybe setting up a death warp here.
Hey, have we seen what's on Bumper Ledge?
I have not seen that, so we haven't been quite up that far yet.
I'm just thinking, besides pod, what do we have? We have Pyramid, both on top of and inside. We have Catfish, Purple Chest, Bumper Ledge.
Spike Cave.
Oh yes, well, technically Spike Cave's not in Logic without some sort of magic boost.
Right, but it's accessible. And actually, Megawatt putting that bombos to really good use there, using it to clear out the Gyptos from that room, make it a little bit easier. Getting a little bit of intel here from chat. SA mentioning that Daaanty might go back and check the TT Big Chest because they did a practice seed and they got trolled by it. So, but still don't think he'll actually make the call. So, possibility we could see that play here at some point, but maybe not immediately. And Megawatt down to one heart, but surviving.
And Daaanty is doing the Purple Chest quest.
Alright, let's see how this all turns out.
Well, fortunately for Daaanty, Megawatt's going to be spending a bit trying to find that second item in Skullwoods. Which I don't blame him for doing. But overall, I'd say Daaanty has the more efficient routing, provided that there's nothing in Thieves' Town Big Chest. And I think he's gonna do Pyramid.
He's got the money to do it, so could certainly see that being set up. Yeah, it's gonna be a pyramid check.
I mean, the early 5-6 crystals do make you wonder if there's something in there.
Yeah, there's a lot of variables right now. There's not really a single path that screams go here, do thing. It's just kind of like you could go here and do this or that or do all of these various things, and they're all viable options right now because they're all a couple of location checks.
Maybe Megawatt will show us Bumper Ledge.
We might see it in just a second here. It's a heart and a bottle, and I did not catch what the first item was. The I thought it was B in the bottle, but I missed what was on the left side.
Well, the bottle, for what it's worth, puts Spike Cave in logic.
Double fetch quest, shovel. Okay, I saw chat going nuts for fetch quest, so I knew it had to be like the shovel or the mushroom or something.
And Daaanty does not want to do catfish right now.
Oh, but Megawatt does. And pulling off the very nice bomb fake flipper there. I'm seeing that used a lot more often now. It's a really nice little glitch.
Yeah, risky move that paid off and saved him a bit of time, since otherwise he'd have to go all the way around.
Oh no, Daaanty. Realizing he's a little bit short on cash.
Oh.
But I think we just saw the sun prize was 5 rupees, so...
That's gonna take a while. Ooh, catfish has tempered.
Ooh. That's not bad. Yeah, sun prize is 5 rupees. So, maybe some good news here is that it will take a while, but we can get that 100.
Only 6 more enemies.
The tempered that catfish is pretty good. That's something to sneeze at. I'm gonna feel real bad if Daanty's like 1 enemy short. Meanwhile, Megawatt going to pick up the big red bomb now, and will be... Oh, it can have just enough, in fact, right here. Gonna get 1 and 1 more. There we go. And still had a moblin there. And Megawatt will get the double fetch quest surprise in just a moment.
And Daaanty will give us our first look at item-rich pod. 5 items in here, right?
That's correct. Yeah, really nice job there by Daaanty for farming the drop prize rupees, the sun prize rupees, because if you get hit by Kiki, that's another 10 rupees that you're gonna have to farm up. So, able to save a little bit of money and not have to worry about getting our monkey friend back.
Yeah, and Megawatt is sitting comfortably when it comes to cash.
Yeah, 170, he'll be fine with 60 left over. Daaanty gonna go to the right side. Check the hint. Something sharp is held with a grumpy fish, so Daaanty knows that there's a sword upgrade at Catfish now.
And hey, if Daaanty gets lucky, there's maybe a mirror in here and he can check the turn of the green pendant right after.
Yeah, that would be absolutely nice to have. Just find the mirror and be like, oh yeah, I could turn in green pendant, and then green pendant turns out to have something you need. So that's kind of the dream at this point, but I really don't know if we're going to see that. Just depends on how mean the seed wants to be today. Hey, big key.
I mean, we have all these fetch quests going on now. Green pendant, shovel, sick kid.
A lot of mobility, a lot of options. We don't, at the moment, we really don't have a next dungeon to go to based on item.
Nice hammer jump by Daaanty.
Yep, just unfortunately just for some bomb pack there.
Let's save some having to death warp. There's one of the 2 keys in back. There's the other, so this will be an item. There's the compass, and Harmless Hellway has an item.
Alright, we should be pretty much items here on out. His bombs, wow. Hot as a jerk today.
Not much progression in pod so far.
Unless it's on Helmasaur King.
So what are we down to? We're down to Helmasaur King.
I think the big chest, not the big chest, but the chest in the front there too. I don't think we've seen that yet.
You mean the vanilla big key chest?
Vanilla big key, yeah.
Yeah, that's a key.
Oh, it's a key. Okay.
We haven't seen it, but by process of elimination, it must
that's
be a
right.
key.
Process of elimination. That's right. I always forget that by process of elimination, you can kind of weasel that out. So yeah, we got a item here, and then if this does not kind of give us a real clear path of where to go, it kind of becomes okay. What do we do? Is it Thieves Town big chest? Is it green pendant turn in? And Megawatt doing the death.
Yeah, I think we only have 4 locations available. We have Green Pendant Turn-In, Thieves Town Big Chest, Spike Cave, and Agena.
The agony could be real. But here we are, Helmasaur King on the right, and shortly on the left as well. It won't be in there at the same time, but Daaanty will get the first crack at the Palace of Darkness boss. Gotta be careful on the 1 heart.
And the other question is Daaanty going to go up to Catfish? Oh! And unfortunately, that bottle contained a bee, not a fairy.
Right. That's always the thing with the fireballs. They do come out in the preset pattern. It's not the fastest way to avoid them, but you can avoid them. Oh!
He never went down there.
Never did see it.
Huh.
Wait. Well, there's still an item on Helmasaur King. We just never saw that item. I thought we checked that because I know Daaanty was down there to get the warp, but I guess we never saw it. Nicely done on that hammer dash, by the way, Daaanty. Executing it perfectly, being able to get it to stop just as he got to the point where you'd have to smash the hammer down on that third pot. So that was really well done. All right, well, Megawatt's got this beat, and let's see what we get. That's a piece of art. Oh, man.
So our progression is in one of those 4 locations that we named earlier.
Well, 3 locations now, unfortunately.
Oh, right, that was one of the 4.
Yep.
Yeah, if progression's on Green Pendant, then Daaanty has a lead. If progression's on Thievestown Big Chest... No, it is 4. Green Pendant, Thievestown Big Chest, Spike Cave, and Aegina.
Okay, so yeah, I think we had mentioned... I think the reason we'd said 4 before because we didn't include Green Pendant. So, yeah, including Green Pendant, they'd be 5 in total, but now it's down to 4.
And
Oh, we do have a sick kid in shovel spot too. That's right.
Oh, right.
Double fetch quest power. Oh, Megawatt.
I guess he wasn't counting keys.
Nope. Yeah, Fagina has progression, and we have a true agony cave, and everybody feels bad. And I think Megawatt's got to go to the back because I think skipped Harmless Hellway. I don't think we saw that on his side. So now we get to see what is Daaanty thinking. And oh, Megawatt unfortunately taking another fall on the bridge. So just gonna have to reset that.
Looks like Daaanty's going to get his tempered.
You may as well. You know it's there.
Yeah, definitely makes enough fights faster. And you certainly don't want to wind up at Ganon without it if you can help it.
And we're going to see the shovel check from Megawatt here. So first of the fetch quest item checks. And it's a big 5.
I'm guessing he's going to do Sick Kid now.
Right. We've got 3 bottles now. So found a whole bunch of bottles. And I think Daaanty's going to do the same thing. Get the quick checks out of the way. What does Sick Kid have for us today? It's going to be 10 arrows. Oh no.
Okay, so both of those fetch quests were useless.
Yep. It's a big ol' pile of troll from Pyramid.
So Megawatt's probably going to do the back of Thievestown now. Since he hasn't done any of the back, he still has 2 items to grab out of there.
Maybe doing purple chest.
Oh, right, he hasn't done that either.
Daaanty
Now,
getting
Daaanty...
bad news. Yep.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Daaanty hasn't done Death Mountain yet, so... But he's not going that way. Is he going to Agena?
And didn't turn in.
Oh, right. Yeah, we have all these isolated checks now. Maybe Megawatt will do Agena while he's over this way.
Wouldn't be shocked. Would not be shocked, Rossi. Oh.
Nope.
And oh, it's half magic, so nice, but not necessary.
But again, makes the play a little bit easier going forward. But yeah, really, both of our runners are last locationing it now. I think now Daaanty's going for Death Mountain.
I think everybody's forgotten about Agena. I think everybody's forgotten about it because, boy, we're seeing them go opposite directions from that.
And if that's where our progression is, and both runners could have had it from the outset, they're going to feel silly.
Getting to feel very silly, but Megawatt gonna check that TT big chest.
Oh, by the way, Megawatt did finish Pod, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I just noticed it's not on the tracker.
Tracker's sometimes fussy.
Yep.
Yeah, the
We've all
program
been there
itself.
with the tracker.
Yeah. Not the person behind the tracker, who is the very awesome Tony. The program itself can be a little fuzzy sometimes.
Yeah, it can decide to refresh right as you've clicked something, and then it doesn't register that you click it.
But by the way, shout out to our Tony for doing the tracking for us tonight, making all of the keeping track of everything possible, doing a great job. So thank you very much.
Indeed, it is a lot of work to track.
Anyways,
Daaanty hovering. Nice.
ooh, that's nice. Always good to see it hover. Maybe that's why I picked the anti-pug skin. You know, he gives +1 to hover.
And we're gonna see Spike Cave.
Well, getting these one-off checks in, and for Daaanty, this is actually going to be really convenient. Just picking up that half magic, making this a lot easier to do. And what's it going to be? The magic
Fetch
powder.
quest! If Magic Bat has our progression.
The mushroom is going to be in this big chest. I almost get this bad feeling. Just find all the fetch quests early.
We'll have to ask the runners how they feel about fetch quests afterwards.
Yes. You play Postman today, just running all over the place delivering stuff. Oh boy. Double moment of truth. No to Thieves Town Big Chest. Daaanty on the right side. What are we getting out of this? What are we getting? Same
It's
item
an
in both
Agena.
locations. Oh.
For all that, our progression is in Agena, and they could have had it from the get-go.
This is what I like to call peak Agony Cave. Because you could have got it way at the start, and now you're getting it at 55 minutes. Welcome to Agony Cave, Daaanty. Very shortly, I assume Megawatt will be joining him in the dark and sad place that is the early game item you could have got.
GFE is saying hook or mirror. It could also be book.
So let's see what is the progression item. This will tell us where to go next. And it is the hook shot!
And you know, Daaanty probably feels incredibly behind because he just last locationed it. And he doesn't know that Megawatt's also last locationing it. So we now have some 14 checks here on East Death Mountain Light and Dark that we can do.
Absolutely.
We also have access to Tower of Hera.
That we do. That's a crystal dungeon. We may see... I think we may see Daaanty probably go route all these checks in, and then I would assume go do Tower of Hera. And Megawatt also making the journey up there now.
Well, without the mirror, he'll probably just do the light world checks. And there's Flippers. But yeah, still no mirror, so they'll probably do Hera before doing the Dark World checks.
Oh, Megawatt actually didn't do that. Yeah, he's doing Spike Cave first.
Yeah, he has to last location of Gina first. Oh, Blue Mail, another nice-to-have item.
Yeah, Blue Mail is the only thing really found in Paradox Cave. Huh.
Daanty's not trying to hover that. Ooh, and the bomb jump didn't quite work.
Just Fit asking, did either runner check the Thieves Town Big Chest? Yes, it is only going to be a piece of heart, and Megawatt found it. So here we are. Daanty's gonna go and dip into Tower of Hera here. You can full clear it, so why not?
Okay, let's hope Megawatt remembers what he's last locationed.
The boots is in Blind's hideout. That is improper grammar, but...
And the big key is vanilla, so we are going to have a coffee break.
Indeed. And Megawatt now knowing. Gosh darn it. It is Inagina. The agony is real. I'm very sad right now.
And still no mirror, so Daanty's setting up the Death Warp. And with Blue Mail, it's good to do off of these tiles because they take 1 heart of damage no matter what mail you have. He's also remembering that he will need to release his fairy if he's going to Death Warp.
Yep, he's setting up the Death Warp pretty perfectly right now. There's the big key, as expected.
Megawatt's hook shot.
And now Megawatt can be following Daaanty up the mountain here into Tower of Hera.
Oh, and we still need Ice Rod, which is always fun because it could be literally anywhere, including on pedestal.
I was about to say, it could be on a pedestal. That would make for a very frustrating and unfortunately for as a runner, it's the one thing you don't want to see because you want to get it's not quick. It's just a slog at that point. You're just like, ugh.
What would be even more evil would be Book on Ped and Mirror in Swamp. No, sorry, Mirror in Desert to get in so that Swamp is inaccessible.
So yeah, we're sitting on some access to other dungeons right now. We may see runners go and dip into those after this. I presumably think that Swamp Palace could be up. Oh wait, no, we need a mirror for that. So maybe an Ice Palace would have to be the play as far as dungeons go after this, because we can't do Swamp without the and Megawatt falling off on Bomb Jump. But without the mirror, we can't do Swamp Palace yet.
So Daanty's gonna go down and back up. Because, yeah, we have to get another piece of progression in these last 6 checks, I think.
Get that TR check as well.
Just
But
in
let's
case we can open
see.
it.
Ether. Nope. Not yet.
There's the
Hey!
mirror.
Absolutely. There's the mirror. Now we can do Swamp Palace.
And that also opens up Desert. No, we need the flute still.
Right. Oh, Megawatt.
Wow!
Made a mistake for Megawatt forgetting about the
The
fairy
fairy.
in the bottle. Yep.
Yes, that was like a 10 out of 10 Super Bunny Cave.
Yeah, absolutely a nice find there for Super Bunny Cave.
So we need Ether, we need Cane of Samaria, and we need either the book or the flute.
How was this? Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was just about to talk about, well, what do we need, Drosy, for Go mode still? And 2 of those items immediately drop right out of the Super Bunny Cave.
Well, we don't need the silvers for Go mode, but they sure make Ganon faster.
Yeah, I mean, no one's gonna say no finding silvers in the chest. Be like, oh, just make it a little faster. Megawatt, unfortunately, bouncing off the spring bumper there. So I'm kind of trying to figure out here what could still be on pedestal that we would need for go mode. Obviously, Canis Maria is not. We know that is not on the pedestal because we need to get in the mire and we need the cane to be able to get through mire. In fact, Ice Palace.
Basically just ether.
Yeah. Ether at this point, yeah. One thing that would make that ped, one thing that would definitely make ped dead is if ether is required for both TR and Misery Mire, because that would necessarily mean that it's not on pedestal because we can't get into dungeon.
And Daaanty's teammate Edium informing us that this is Daaanty's 3rd seed ever. So congratulations, Daaanty, on being so good for a newbie.
Yeah, so Sabatender pointing out in chat, I think something that is a good point to make. Problem for Mega is this seed is going to be linear from here on out. He's got some ground to make up. Yeah, it's going to be... There's not going to be a lot of choice as far as where to go where you can make up like a huge chunk of time, like skipping a dungeon or whatnot. Most of your options are going to be, if you're going to take risks and like skip the number of chests here in Swamp Palace, or you know, going somewhere else, or maybe Daaanty finding an item that leads somewhere, but that could certainly be the case for Megawott too. It's just really hard at this point with so few items to go mode and so many places to check there are just like dungeons to dip into, and you don't have access to all the dungeons, so you're kind of being led along where to go next. It just becomes really hard to make up that time on pure execution alone.
But yeah, if there's nothing here on left side swamp and Megawatt skips it, you could make a bit of time that way.
And there's nothing.
But there are 2 items, so that makes it a bit less likely that Megawatt will skip it, because if he does everything else, he'll see, oh, I'm missing 2 items.
Right. And how many items are we missing for go mode? 2.
3.
Oh yeah, 3. That's right. Because we do need access to Desert Palace. That's right. So presumably that could be the other thing that's still on pedestal, is that Desert Palace access.
No, because if you can get to Mire, you can get to Desert, and you need Mire to do Ped.
Right. Right, that makes sense. I overthunk myself there. Sorry.
No biggie.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. If you can get,
it's just we always want things to be on Ped.
We do. We're always trying to think of like creative ways that they could be on there, and it's like, oh yeah, we can't do that because that kind of invalidates the whole point. But yeah, Daaanty is definitely in the lead right now. I would say pretty comfortably.
But I think there's an item in the big chest. So there's the question of will he go back for it.
And here's Argus. Will be a pretty quick fight here from Daaanty and Megawatt eventually as well.
Yeah, this is one of those examples of why the tempered sword was really nice to get.
Ooh!
Okay, so Pet is officially dead.
Yep. Rip Ped.
And he is going back in for the big chest.
Yeah, we still need King Samaria and something for Desert Access. So that means... Oh!
Well...
Okay!
So T-Rock is full clearable and hopefully has our desert access somewhere in there.
You know, I was going to say something about... I hope Kane's not hanging out in that big chest, but I didn't want to jinx it, and I should have said something about it because I would look like a 300 IQ genius.
Well, and then we'd have to burn you too.
Yes. Please don't burn me. But Daaanty gonna go and do Turtle Rock now. It's pretty clear as day. Like, you have everything you need to go do that. Just go do it.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to dive pendant ice just to avoid doing Turtle Rock.
Right. I know everybody wants to try and do Turtle Rock last, especially in this game mode, because you can get up to Ganon's Tower right away. But, you know, you gotta go where the seed leads you, and it's pretty much got a glowing neon sign right now saying, go to Turtle Rock, do the thing. Probably will find something on Laser Bridge here. You know, last chest on Laser Bridge probably is you're gonna be your go mode item.
Oh, and by the way, shoutouts to SAGTG in chat, who will be facing Megawatt in Game 4 of this series tomorrow afternoon.
Boy, that's a helpful hint if you didn't get that. You're like, hey, dummy, you want to get in this dungeon further? You need to go back to Swamp Palace. And
But the funny thing is, just to enter, you had to have beaten Argus, so it's the very limited case where...
decided to skip it, yeah.
Yeah. You beat Argus and didn't go back for the big chest.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Megawatt's
no.
going into Ice Palace. Oh boy. So that hint might be helpful to Megawatt. Where's the big key? This will be a definite advantage right now for Daaanty. Being able to complete this.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that... Yeah. And because Megawatt's done everything else on Death Mountain, the likelihood of him going up just to get that hint is not going to help. But not going to be high, sorry.
Yeah, now the one thing that could be an advantage here is if the Book Flute Desert Access item is in Ice Palace. That could kind of blunt some of the damage from the time loss, even, I guess you could say, from making this decision. but still gonna have to go into Swamp Palace. And at least we know the good news is that there's going to be a hint right at the start to tell him go back to Swamp Palace.
Well, nice bomb jump by Megawatt.
And yeah, it's one of those things too with it's just like oversight. You know, you might think that you might not check it too often, so you just don't get in the rhythm of checking it, and then the one time you need to check it, you don't, and it just kind of unfortunately bites you. So sometimes it's not even a gamble. Sometimes it's just you know, mechanically most efficient routing is to do this, and it turns out, you know, you don't check this one thing, and well, that's exactly the place I needed to go.
That's just money. Let's see what's in this chest. Oh yeah, and we have Mimic Cave too.
It's a big key.
Oh, there's Quake to complete the medallion collection.
It's a nice collection. Just put them all in a nice little display case. Unique items in Mimic Cave. Well, we know what that is.
Yeah,
These
not
hints
a
are
very...
coming a little. These hints are coming a little bit too late, Rossi.
Well, and that's not even a very helpful unique item.
It's like going to Ganon's tower, falling down the hole, going to check a tile down there, and finding out, hey, don't fall down the hole. Yeah, really nice race so far from Daaanty. Doing a very good job of just keeping cool under pressure, not letting the dragginess of the seed really kind of get to him, as far as having to run all over the place and check all these locations. And still, we're only at 117, so it's still on pretty good pace. Hey!
And there's Go Mode at 117 in about 50 seconds.
Okay, I will report for my witch burning at after the race.
Go Mode on Laser Bridge is popular enough. I don't think we need to burn you for that.
Okay, that's what I figured. Yeah, that's definitely a nice find for Daaanty, knowing that got all the access you need. Don't even have to go to Kakariko to get the flute unlocked and then fly over to Mire and then mirror back in to get access to Desert Palace. Can just go through the front door. And we'll very likely do that in just a moment here. But first, we've got to take care of a little Trinex problem.
Well, Megawatt shows us Cold Stare. Always fun having synced boss battles with different bosses.
We'll certify, of course, a little bit quicker. Especially when
Daaanty
you get
has
those
to be
three.
careful here.
Yep. Ooh, yeah, it does have to be careful on one heart. Just gotta avoid the bad touch, and definitely does so. Nicely done.
So I wonder if Mega's now gonna go to Swamp Big Chest. No. Cave 45.
Yeah, I think Mega has just forgotten about the big chest in Swamp Palace, just as kind of like a routing thing.
Yeah, barring several Ganon falls, I think this is GG.
I always love that prayer animation for the Andy Pug sprite.
The praying pug. Okay, now Megawatt's realized what he's forgotten.
Yep. So back on track, but the time loss is real at this point.
Yeah, I think even if GT Big Key is in Tile Room and Daaanty last locations it and Megawatt takes a total gamble and does it immediately, that still wouldn't make up this much of a deficit.
Yeah. There's always the other possibility that, Daaanty could go up through Gauntlet and get wall mastered and have to go through it again and get wall mastered and have to go through it again.
Or take a bunch of Moldworm falls.
Yeah, so definitely looking like a very comfortable lead right now for Daaanty and the Titans mitts. Picking up that big key. Yeah, that's... I mean, if you're Megawatt right now, finding that Canis Mario there, you're just like, ah, shoot. Because, I mean, it's one of those things where if you make a play because you think you're behind, and you find your item in the location you've checked, and you realize that now you were definitely behind, and probably a little bit further behind than even you thought you were, you're just kind of like, well, this stinks. And for Daaanty, that's going to be 7 crystals. Well,
Yeah. So
kind of that time, isn't it?
Yeah. I think we have a little game we like to play around now. It's like chat's already getting in on it, even though no one's actually started it. So let's start it here. So yes, 22 locations in GT Basement where the big key could be. And you two can get your name on our leaderboard and maybe knock the Fear Agent off of his leader post.
Well, somebody's got to knock him off his leader post. He's getting too big for his britches. But yep, for those wondering, in Gan's Tower, there are a bunch of locations in the bottom, 22 locations to be precise, 21 chests and a torch item that could hold the big key. And want to guess the item location, be the closest or spot on without going over, and if you do, you get to be on the leaderboard. I did not check if you put one in there.
Oh, I
Drosy.
actually forgot to, but I'm going to go with my
Nope.
normal 10. What about you?
I went with 18, so I think it's going to be a little bit further back, probably behind the, remember tonight if I could remember words
Well,
properly tonight.
18, depending on whether they go full right, is usually either Compass Room or Bob's Chest.
Right. So we'll see.
Stopping the game here.
Well, there's 1. 2, so it's not in the Hope Room.
But it does allow him to do full right. Which means your guess is going to be Bob's Chest.
Oh boy. And do skip a chest. There's 3, 4, 5, and 6. There's
our flute. Maybe GT Big Keys and Meyer. You never know.
Well, sadly, not Key Sanity, so that's not going to be the case this time. Number 7, just a moment. Nope, small key.
But bye-bye, Bob.
Again, Tower telling us take a key for coming in.
And Megawatt, unfortunately, is still in the middle of his full clear of Turtle Rock.
Number 10. Area 11 is the answer tonight.
I was off by 1. So, cool Papa Bell. Nice job.
Yeah. I don't know if you missed that in chat, Drosy, but Cool Papa Bell was going to guess 8, and unfortunately had entered the number too quickly, so it wouldn't let him enter it, so he had to guess a different number and ended up getting it right.
I saw that. I didn't actually see that he had guessed 11, though.
Calculated.
So where does that put Cool Papa Bell on our list? He is now on our leaderboard.
Yes.
Congratulations for getting on the leaderboard.
You did it. All you need to do is do it 7 more times. Meanwhile, Daaanty making it through the cannonball room and heading up into Gauntlet.
After visiting the restock room, which is how we know that bonking was intended by the game. Because it is the only way to reach that room. And there's Megawatt's Go mode. So about 11 and a half minutes after Daaanty's Go mode.
Yeah, that's a huge gap in these kind of races, so it can be very tough for Megawatt to pull this one out for Fendron and Drifters, but...
Oh, and Megawatt didn't take the safety exit. I was thinking he was so low on health, I was kind of surprised he didn't take the safety exit.
Yep, and that's a rough one because it's going to be back to the second entrant. Daaanty already through the main part of Gauntlet, through the most satisfying room to game part 1, and entering part 2 right now. Here we go. And Megawatt in kind of a rough spot right now.
What's he?
Doesn't have enough magic to do the.
Is he forfeiting? Because I saw some. Yeah. Unfortunately, Megawatt has forfeited here.
I'm gonna say probably feeling very behind with that. You know, not having enough magic to do the basement here.
Yeah, he used it all up on the
really
cave.
tough.
That was unfortunately a risk too far.
Yeah, Nancy's almost done with the seed though. Now on Moldworm 2. And definitely get those GGs in chat for Megawatt. Just kind of unfortunately had a rough go of it with the routing at the end there. It happens. It's not any indication of player skill or anything like that. Both of these runners are very very talented, very skilled runners. Sometimes the game is just a little cruel to you.
Yeah, everyone has a bad day where they just make some mistake or check the wrong locations.
And that's kind of the thing about Rando is it's fairly merciless with how it hands out good and bad runs. It just kind of is.
Speaking of which, Aga 2 was being kind of merciless, and then Daaanty got a nice triple followed by a double.
Yeah, it was pretty good. The triple was excellently done by Daaanty as well. Very nicely reflected back on all those fireballs.
Yeah, so we have 1032, which is an unusual sequence.
Very unusual.
And here's the pig. Giving us a paraphrase of what he says in the vanilla game.
Meanwhile, we're on to phase 2. Gonna be very quickly on to phase 3, I think. Usually with tempered, you get through
That's
this.
a good point. Like, the duck is still stuck in the weather vane in Kakariko Village, so how did it just transport us here?
I was gonna say, there's many questions about the duck. Like, one of the questions we always ask about is, why is a duck in Dark World? And I think the answer I came up with is because the duck is the most pure thing in existence. It literally, its Dark World version is literally itself.
Or maybe it swallowed a moon pearl at some point.
That could be too. And on to the final phase here. Did you find the arrows in the Dark World? Sure did. They were in Super Bunny Cave.
Gets the torch glitch.
Yep, torch glitch.
Doesn't really need the torch glitch, but it's nice to have.
That's just less to think about. Oh, almost getting a double. Just a tiny bit off, but got this now. There we go. So get those GGs ready, chat.
Just has to cross that dangerous bridge.
And there we go. Daaanty finishing the race with a time of 1:34.35 and an OMG from the Triforce. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Very OMG tonight.
And looks like we have Daaanty in here with us. GG.
Yo, thanks. GG.
So, how about those fetch quests?
I just fell for every piece of bait. I was talking with Megawatt in IRC, waiting for the delay, and I kind of felt behind finding Hook where we did, and I thought, well, this is probably very bad, because at that point it could have been a crazy jet seed. I was really starting, if Hook didn't show up there, I was about to go dive Thieves Town again, because, I mean, kind of maybe spoilers of past races, but I was starting to think, history was about to repeat itself. But luckily I guess that wasn't the case today.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's what you were down to location-wise, as I recall.
Yeah, it was either that for flippers, and I kept wanting to dive ice. Like, I constantly was thinking, I should go to ice, and then I'd glance at my tracker, and I'm like, no, it's a pendant. Don't do it. And then I'd kind of argue with myself about, pendant ice usually seems to pay off, but then luckily I kept getting distracted, and usually that's a bad thing when I get distracted by other progressions. So the fact that I was going, like I said, I was going to sequence break to ice just to try to think for a minute, but I was getting a little worried where my progression was, but I mean, I'd have to go back and watch this, obviously, to see what exactly happened with Megawatt, but I hate it kind of came to that. I was looking forward to seeing our match to the end, but GG's to Megawatt. I just hate to see it kind of go down to that.
Yeah, it was pretty even most of the way, because you both last locationed the hook shot.
Oh, well, okay. I guess that makes a little more sense then, but yeah, I mean, I just, like I said, when I found Hook, I was like, oh, that's bad. I couldn't think of anything else for it.
Oh, and Megawatt telling us that he's not going to do an interview. Totally understandable. GG, and good luck tomorrow afternoon. But, yeah, I was going to say that the difference maker was actually the Swamp Big Chest that you went back into Swamp after defeating Argus, and Megawatt instead decided to dive Pendant Ice.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I had a feeling about Swamp. At that point when I got Hook, I was like, there is something major here. And I, for some reason, because I had, obviously because I had Hook, and I saw that map, I just said, you know what, I'm going left side. And then when nothing showed up there, I thought, okay, now I really feel bad. So at that point, I said, I'm just going to commit to this play. There's one item left. And when Kane showed up, I just said, I'm going to TR. There's a ton of crap there. So, and then when book, I was like, I just need a book or flute. That's just what I was kind of going through my head. And when I saw the book, I was like, okay, where's the key? And of course, it was the last chest on Laser Bridge.
Always is. It's either the key or the item you need.
Yeah, it's never convenient at that point. It just wants to stress you out a little more.
Yeah, this was very much a stress-inducing scene. And you mentioned it, Daaanty, that there was a lot of red herrings to bite on in this scene, especially early on with a lot of the plays that were open and things that were kind of indicating, okay, maybe it's over here. Maybe, I've got Green Pendant access. Maybe it's a turn-in at Green Pendant. Maybe it's Pyramid Fairy Bomb. All these locations that you could check early on because you couldn't really dive in any of the dungeons at the start. And it turns out to be in Agina's cave, which, of course it is.
Most people last location it, I just figured that wasn't going to be the case. And I mean, two major things that really went through my head. I did escape because I got that sword so early, and then I didn't do Dark Cross. And I thought about it, but I was like, I don't have a mirror, and I don't feel like setting up the Death Warp. So when I got the lamp, I got really worried for a bit that after starting doing South Shore, I said, I bet I'm orphaning a glove in Dark Cross. Like I was trying to read it. And then when a glove showed up in Eastern, I felt really good. And then when a second glove showed up, I was like, well, that's pretty wild. So I'm just really glad I went into Dark Crossing, got the Fire Rod instead of a glove before going to Dark World, so I could just like, okay, I'll do Skullwoods first, and then just kind of sweep the map as I'm going.
Yeah, and then the only thing was Hammer and Hype Cave.
Yeah, and I started to consider the fact that when I was leaving Hype Cave, I was going to turn in the idea was to turn in the Smiths and go back to Dark World, and I was going to set up the Water Walk to get over to Pod. And then when the Hammer showed up, I was like, oh, well, I don't have to do that now. So that's cool. And I was really worried that it could potentially be... I was going to try to read the logic a little bit by getting to Pod. I was worried that, Hammer might be inside Pyramid Fairy. And I was like, well, this could be really bad.
Yeah, we were thinking, honestly, like, with the lamp and the Master Sword showing up so early that maybe Aga was required, and then with, like, the 2 red crystals showing up so early, we were starting to wonder if maybe Hammer was in Pyramid, but no, it was all a false alarm.
Yeah, and when I saw Shovel, I was like, I'm not prioritizing that, and then I started running out of stuff, so I thought, well, we'll prioritize that, and I think the only fetch quest I didn't do was the mushroom because we never found it, and I'm sure if we found it, I'd have done it. But the forfeit, I was like, I told myself, when that happened, I didn't see it, but till like well after I think it happened, it was more of a, stop. I have a tendency to glance at IRC a lot and get distracted, so I was like, I'm not gonna do that this race, and I also promised my team, I stuck to my promise that 1, I wouldn't do the hammer yump without the big key, and 2, I wouldn't try to hover Moldorm 2 unless I had already lost. So,
well, big key in front was certainly nice in Pod, and very nice hammer yump, by the way, too.
Oh well, thanks. But yeah, I don't know. Overall, I'm to kind of throw back to Tuesday's race between SAGTG and Jet, and to quote Jet, like it feels good to finally feel like I'm actually contributing. Our team has been working really hard, and I've been I feel like my performance hasn't been up to my own standards, so it feels good to actually get another seed under my belt where I feel like I played really well overall, with a few minor mistakes, but. Mistakes, nobody's perfect, so they happen. But, moving on from them is always a good thing.
Yeah, and just one other thing I noticed during the race that kudos to you for catching when you were doing the Death Warp after coffee break, you remembered to release your fairy.
Yeah, half the time I forget to set the Death Warp up without mirror, and I get down there and I'm like, oh, well, this feels awful. So... I started setting it up and I was like, okay, I'm going to do this right as I'm going through the door so I don't have to worry about the stupid fairy touching me. It felt bad to get a fairy and then think, all right, well, I've got an extra safety, and then you just have to like totally just sacrifice it.
Yeah, it was something that Megawott was also trying to set it up and forgot about the fairy, so he death warped and got revived and then had to walk all the way back upstairs, unfortunately.
Yeah,
so,
and I've been in that spot too, so it's totally relatable, and it don't always go the way we want it to, unfortunately. I feel like I choked away back in the co-op race, the race 2 of that week, and unfortunately that's just how rando works. It's like if we were going to just try to go full execution, I guess it would be NMG or something.
Yeah, no, that's what makes it interesting.
And I guess I know we got to wrap up probably soon, but I do want to say thank you to you guys, the comms, Tracker, Speed Gaming, for putting this on. It's always a pleasure when we be able to participate, whether it be with volunteering or running, kind of on the big stage, so to speak. So I do appreciate all the work behind the scenes that goes on with that and the league.
And thanks to you and Megawatt for putting on a good race. I mean, you guys make it look a lot easier than most of us find it. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely. But yeah, you and Megawatt did a wonderful job here. And make sure to follow both of our runners. Dara Windor doing a great job of putting all the things in the chat for that. But yeah, follow Megawatt, follow Daaanty. Both of them doing a great job. They do, of course, obviously they do other races, and Megawatt's running tomorrow. Daanty's going to be running, I assume, if you guys win, running later in the playoffs as well. So perhaps we'll see more from both of you in the near future.
Yeah, hopefully so. I look forward to any opportunity to play this, I guess, competitively, if you want to call it that. It's a whole lot of fun. So it's breathes new life into this. Not to saying the game was stale, but it's a great old game. But the rando aspect is definitely something that's really intriguing to watch and play.
And we now have a channel assigned, in fact, for Megawatt versus SAGTG in Game 4 of this series. It'll be on Speed Gaming 4 at 3 p.m. tomorrow, so make sure to tune into that. And for the other division, the Death Mountain division, they will also be playing Game 4 tomorrow. We have Goomba versus Thalane, and that is at 6 p.m. Eastern on this channel, Speed Gaming 1.
Yeah, that'll be a good match, too.
And since this is where the lower seed gets to choose the settings with the higher seed allowed one veto, the Lake Hylia settings for tomorrow, get this, all dungeons, inverted, rando swords, hard, Randomizer.
Wow.
SAGTG.
That's going to take a while.
Play.
That's a heck of a pick.
Yeah, what was SAGTG thinking there? I guess we'll find out tomorrow.
I mean, to him, that's easy. That's kind of his philosophy. It's going to be a struggle for everybody, but it overall it's just fun. I mean, I've played a few seeds like that with him just casually, and they're fun. You just have to like not take them super serious about trying to beat them in like an hour 20 or something. But they're a lot of fun.
And if you want to see something slightly less crazy, the Death Mountain match is going to be a normal standard race, except key sanity. So, if you're a key sanity fan, we've got one of those for you. If you're an inverted or Randomizer or hard mode or all dungeons fan, well, tune into Game 4 of this tomorrow. And I think that'll wrap it for us tonight. GG again to both of our runners. Thanks to my co-com, Nihon Tiger. Thanks again to Tony, our tracker, who is actually Mage1 here on Twitch. And let's see what else is on here tonight. We actually have the standard daily race going on Speed Gaming 5, so you can catch the end of that. We also have our Final Fantasy 1 Randomizer Spring Tournament going on SG2 right now, so feel free to switch to one of those channels, and thank you all for watching.
Absolutely. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Remember, good night, good RNG. Remember, someone out there loves you, and we love you too. So take care of yourselves, and we'll see you back here tomorrow for more rando. Till then, take care, guys. Have a good night.